do me a favor, check, this isn't on now, right?
No.
Can you check, because two people said today that on 95, when it's dead, that there's some MSNBC reporters.
Yeah, that was, and I guess Lou was in here installing a hard drive, and he left that up on the screen, that there was a registration page for a hard drive.
Take it off.
Well, yeah, after the meeting's over, I'll put up all the ads and everything.
Okay.
Is John right now?
No.
And you forget your water. There's an extra. Give me $1.
Take one of those off here. Take one of these if you don't mind.
No. So I was just teasing Joe. I said, I carried two of them with me because Greg eats them like candy.
Just choose them.
Give him a pile of crushed ice, he'll chew on that.
It's a Stella.
Yeah, Jeannie, it works.
It's on.
Yeah.
Help yourself if you want.
Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe something.
It's like the
Might be on your end.
Yeah,
the pop.
Two separate
Two up.
laptops? Yeah.
3.
And it's a throat lounger. It's a.
Yeah, why would you chain eat them? I can see if there were Skittles.
yeah, no, got it, even with the mask.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
did you see where that painting wound up?
Who put that? You put that up
Yeah,
there?
I put it up there. Yeah, it's Main Street in Carmel.
That was
Yeah,
coming
it's
out.
Mount Carmel Baptist Church.
That was in the chamber buildings. They left one of the things they
I
left. there.
scavenged it, what'd you say it was?
Scavenger.
Scavenger. I was a scavenger.
No comment.
Okay.
A couple good desks in there too.
We're talking about that painting, Vincent. Yeah, it came out of the chamber building in town. We're ready to go. Yeah. We're on? We're rolling right now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here this evening to the meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Before we get started, as always, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Would everybody please rise? And Councilwoman McDonough, would you lead us tonight, please?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence to remember all of the men and women who are fighting for our freedom. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue.
You're welcome.
Okay, once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for attending this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Tonight's Town Board meeting is a work session. We do have one public hearing before we move on to the work session agenda items. At 6 p.m. this evening, the Town Board met in executive session with our engineering consultant and the Town Board to discuss the New York City DEP Carmel Sewer District Number 1. This is the wastewater treatment plant update. It's the wastewater treatment plant that's owned by the City of New York that's right adjacent to the Town Hall, right across Croton Falls Road. So at 6:30 p.m., we also stayed in executive session with Town Engineer Rich Franzetti, PE, Town Engineer Consulting Engineer John Fulchetti, and they gave us an update on the Carmel Water District Number 2 water projects that you're all familiar with, that we've been speaking about for many, many months and maybe even years. These projects are moving forward up in the hamlet of Carmel, and the board had requested an update from our engineers with respect to the progress on the projects. So, for the record, all board members are present with the exception of Councilman Schneider, who couldn't be with us this evening. He's on vacation with his family. I have Town Clerk Ann Spofford all the way down to my right. Ann, thanks for being here. And all the way down to my left is Joe Charbonneau, who is filling in for Greg Fulchetti this evening. Greg is on vacation with his family as well this week, too. So Joe was kind enough to fill in for Greg. So the first item on the agenda tonight is a public hearing on a proposed local law amending Chapter 156 of the Town Code of the Town of Carmel entitled Zoning and adopting an amended zoning map in connection herewith. So I'm going to ask the town clerk to read the notice of the public hearing, and I believe Councilwoman McDonough is is going to assist the town clerk, because it's quite a lengthy reading. So, Ann, if you want to start.
Notice is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel will conduct a public hearing at the Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, 10541, on Wednesday, August 28, 2019, at 7 o'clock p.m., or as soon thereafter that evening as possible, on a proposed local law amending Chapter 156 of the Town Code of the Town of Carmel entitled Zoning, and adopting an amended zoning map in connection therewith as follows. Proposed resolution adopting local law number 5 of 2019. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel has received a petition pursuant to New York State Town Law Sections 264 and 265 seeking amendments to the zoning map of the Town of Carmel in order to rezone as C commercial certain parcels owned by petitioners Top Cat Realty Corp. And 1841 Park Avenue Realty Corp., the petitioners. And whereas the petitioners are the respective owners of 3 parcels of adjoining real property located on Stillwater Road, Mahopac, New York, such parcels being known and designated on the tax assessment map of the Town of Carmel as map 86.5 block 1, lot 25, map 86.5 block 1, lot 26, owned by petitioner 1841 Park Avenue Realty Corp., and map number 75.17, block 1, lot 53, owned by petitioner Top Cat Realty Corp., each of which currently zoned R residential and hereinafter collectively referred to as the parcels. And
Whereas the petitioners seek to have the Town of Carmel rezone the parcels as C commercial. And whereas as amendment of Chapter 156 of the Town Code of the Town of Carmel, specifically Sections 156-5, entitled Zoning Map of the Code of the Town of Carmel, has been proposed in order to amend the zoning map of the Town of Carmel, which amendment will rezone as C commercial the parcels of real property in the Town of Carmel located on Stillwater Road, Mahopac, Town of Carmel, New York, such parcels being known and designated on the tax assessment map of the Town of Carmel as map 86.5, block 1, lot 25, map 86.5, block 1, lot 26, and map 75.17, block 1, lot 53, which 3 aforementioned parcels are hereinafter collectively referred to as the parcels. And whereas a public hearing was held on August 20th, 2019, upon notice duly published and posted, and whereas public discussion was heard at such hearing concerning the merits of said local law, and whereas in accordance with Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and 6 NYCRR Part 617 of the implementing regulations, the proposed action has been determined to be an unlisted action. And whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel has reviewed the environmental assessment form submitted for the project and has completed review of the project. And whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel has issued a negative declaration of significance pursuant to Part 617 of the implementing regulations pertaining to Article 8, State Environmental Quality Review Act of the Environmental Conservation Law, and has determined that the proposed action will not have a significant environmental impact, and that a draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. And
whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel wishes to amend Town Code Chapter 156, 156-5, entitled Zoning Map, in order to amend the zoning map of the Town of Carmel, which amendment will rezone as C commercial the 3 adjoining parcels of real property in the Town of Carmel located upon Stillwater Road, Mahopac, Town of Carmel, New York, such parcels being known and designated on tax assessment map of the Town of Carmel as map 86.5, block 1, lot 25, map 86.5, block 1, lot 26, and map 75.17, block 1, lot 53, and therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby amends the Town Code Chapter 156, 156-5, entitled Zoning Map of the Code of the Town of Carmel, to amend the zoning map of the Town of Carmel to rezone as C commercial the 3 adjoining parcels of real property located upon Stillwater Road, Mahopac, Town of Carmel, New York, such parcels being known and designated on the tax assessment map of the Town of Carmel as map 86.5, block 1, map 86.5, block 1, lot 26, and map 75.17, block 1, lot 53. And be it further resolved that the local law is hereby enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Carmel as local law number 5 of 2019 of the Town of Carmel. And be it further resolved that the zoning map of the Town of Carmel is to be amended to reflect that the 3 parcels of real property previously described herein are located in the C Commercial District. And at said public hearing, all interested persons shall be heard on the subject thereof. The Town Board will make every effort to assure that the public hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and/or reasonable accommodations should contact the town clerk. By order of the Town of Carmel, of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, Ann Spofford, Town Clerk, August 13th, 2019. So, at this time, I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
So moved by Councilwoman McDonough, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the public hearing is now open. If there's any residents that are here that would like to come up and comment on this public hearing, come on up at this time. This is your opportunity to speak. Anybody?
Going once.
Okay, going once, going twice? Okay.
Done.
There being none, I need a motion to close the
So
public hearing.
moved.
Second?
So moved by Councilwoman McDonough, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, public hearing is closed. Okay, so we're gonna move on to, 1A is a short form EAF, Environmental Assessment Form, which, Councilor Charbonneau is gonna bring the board through. Councilor?
Okay, so I'm going to go through Part 2 of the environmental assessment form, specifically the impact assessment. So I'm going to go through the 11 questions, ask the board to deliberate briefly and draw a conclusion as to the answer being no, or small impact may occur, or the answer being moderate to large impact may occur. So the first question is, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations?
No.
No.
Second question, will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affecting existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
No.
Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies?
No.
Will the proposed action impact existing public-private wastewater treatment utilities?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, for example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
No.
And lastly, will the proposed action create a hazard to an environmental resource or human health?
No.
Okay. The town board, having answered in the negative with respect to all questions on Part 2 of the environmental impact assessment, can now consider the resolution, which has been attached, noticed, and published regarding a negative determination under SECRA.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. All right, this time, Councilwoman McDonough, would you read 1B, please?
Yes. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel has reviewed the short form environmental assessment form in regard to the proposed adoption of local law number 5 of 2019, granting the petition for rezoning of 3 parcels of real property on Stillwater Road, Mahopac, New York. And whereas the adoption of said local law is being proposed to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the persons and property of the Town of Carmel. And whereas the project is defined as an unlisted action. And whereas the Town Board has reviewed the full environmental assessment form and assessed the projected impacts and their magnitude on the environment in accordance with the seeker regulations and given due consideration thereto. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Part 617 of the seeker regulations, the Town of Carmel Town Board hereby designates its intention to serve as lead agency for the seeker review of this unlisted action, and in this capacity will conduct an uncoordinated review. Be further resolved that pursuant to Part 617 of the implementing regulations pertaining to Article 8, State Environmental Quality Review Act of the Environmental Conservation Law, the lead agency has determined that the proposed unlisted action will not have a significant effect on the environment. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby determines that, based on the information contained in the full environmental assessment form and their analysis thereof, the proposed project will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts under the seeker regulations, and for the reasons enumerated in the attached negative declaration form, hereby adopts a negative declaration in regard to the proposed action. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Okay, second by Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, so at this point, the supervisor is authorized to sign the short form EAF. I would ask that the supervisor check the second box on the signature page on page 2, and the town board can consider a vote on the resolution adopting local law number 5 as noticed and published. I don't think it's necessary to read it, because it's already been read in the previous notice. And I would note for the record that there was a 239M referral with respect to this made to the county, and it was returned without comment. So,
Thank you, Judge.
So I'll make a motion to enact local law number 5 of 2019 as noticed and published.
Second.
Second?
Okay, seconded by Councilman Borelli and Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Good night, gentlemen.
Thanks,
Good night.
guys.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so that completes the public hearing for this evening's meeting. We're going to move on now to the town board work session.
Close meeting? Close the special meeting?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have to close the meeting. Need a motion to
So
close
moved.
the
I make a
special
motion.
meeting?
So moved.
Mike, do you second that?
Second.
All right, seconded by Councilman Borelli. Roll call vote?
Aye.
Oh, okay, just all in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, now I need a motion to open the
So
work
moved.
session. So moved, open, second by Councilman Borelli. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, so the work session is now open. The first item, the Chief of Police, Mike Kazari, has asked, let's go back. Review of town board meeting minutes of August 7th, 2019. If any board members have any comments on that, if they don't, we're gonna move on,
No.
which
No.
they don't. Okay. Chief Kazari has asked me to handle his agenda item. This is consider request to reimburse educational stipends for POs Brian Ford and PO Brian Sillery. Brian Ford is asking for the approval of $900 educational stipend as allowed by the PBA contract for Police Officer Ford. P.O. Ford has earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from the State University of Albany and will reach his 1-year anniversary on August 27th, 2019. So per the PBA contract, Officer Ford is entitled to the educational stipend for his degree. Okay, the next officer, that is requesting a stipend is P.O. Sillery. So P.O. Sillery is requesting a $900 education stipend. He has earned his Bachelor of Science degree from Mercy College and will reach his 1-year anniversary on August 27th, 2019 as well. So again, per the PBA contract, these officers are entitled to the educational stipend that they're requesting. Any questions, comments, concerns on that?
No.
We do this
Deserve
quite
it,
often.
and it's good that they're going.
It's good that they're going, exactly. Yep. Okay, number 2, Mike Simone. Mike Simone has asked me to handle his items for tonight. Mike Simone has considered request to declare old equipment obsolete and authorize disposal. This is for a 1986. It says 2003 on the agenda, but if you make that correction, it's a 1986. He's requesting the authorization to dispose of the vehicle. 1986 GMC tanker, truck 55. Gives the VIN numbers 1GBH7D, 1F3GV, 110793. It was acquired in December of 2007 for $2,300. So they've had it 12 years, and I guess it's a 1986, so it's quite old, and they want to dispose of it. So next item, also Highway Superintendent Simoni, consider request to authorize repair for 2005 Freightliner vac wall back body, and this is for truck 57. I'm requesting approval of the repairs to our 2005 Freightliner vac wall as per the attached quotes. And the company that submitted the lowest estimate, or proposal if you will, is Legio Corporation, and that's for $7,600. The other companies that he solicited estimates from, one was for $8,745, and the other one was for $12,233. So Legio Corp in Brewster, New York, for $7,600 is who the Highway Superintendent is recommending that the board award or approve the cost for the repairs to this truck. So it's labor to cut 3 sides apart on the body and roof, weld in all new steel in the rear body and roof of the vac wall truck. Customer has to paint. It's indicated here's a note. Total labor, $5,500. It's 3½ inch by 24 channels, 5 sheets of 5x10 by 3/16 steel, and also miscellaneous steel as well, and that's where the $7,600 quote comes from.
So Kenny, is he planning on not painting it? Like, I don't know what the truck looks like. Is this the inside of the truck, or is it?
It's the outside.
The outside?
Yeah,
So-
he indicated that, or it's indicated here that the customer is gonna paint. So I guess Mike is planning on painting the, whatever the work they do to the truck. This is the back of the truck.
Okay.
The back of the body of the vehicle is rotted and it's no longer functional. So since this truck is probably a $150,000 truck to replace or more for $7,600, if it's gonna keep it in service, I think it's money well spent, as opposed to buying a new one. It's a 2005, so it's 14 years old, but other than the back being no longer functional, I guess the drivetrain, the engine drivetrain seemed to,
No, it
Must be functioning
definitely
okay.
pays to fix it.
pays to fix it, yeah. All right, anybody else, Susie?
Nope,
Okay?
nope, I'm
All
good.
right. Okay, so next is Rich Franzetti. I'm sorry, Rich, I know you had asked to be moved up, but I knew I was gonna go through these quick. So, Rich Franzetti is here for 4, 5, and 6. 4 is consider request to authorize amending section 7 of an agreement with the East Hudson Watershed Corporation. Rich?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and town board members. As the board is aware, the town of Carmel is a member of the East Hudson Watershed Corporation. It's made up of 19 municipalities in Dutchess, Putnam, and Westchester counties, and was established as a regional stormwater entity in response to the heightened phosphorus removal requirements under the New York State DEC stormwater regulations. The East Hudson Watershed Corporation administers, coordinates, and installs the regional stormwater retrofits with funding made available by the New York City DEP, Westchester County, and Putnam County. Through the EOH, member municipalities are collectively achieving compliance with the stormwater retrofit projects through bubble compliance, regardless of their physical location of each retrofit. Due to bubble compliance, the town is required to pay for O&M based on the town's overall phosphorus reduction, not just those SRPs, stormwater retrofit practices, installed in the town. The East Hudson Watershed Corporation, through Putnam County, provides the O&M for the SRPs located in the town. On November 29th, 2018, the town entered into a maintenance agreement with the corporation and Putnam County. The East Hudson Watershed Corporation wants to amend the agreement. The 2018 language had language in Section 7 that said the agreement shall be effective upon the date set forth above and shall terminate 1 year from the effective date hereof, provided that this agreement shall be renewed and continued for successive 1-year terms upon the consent of the parties. Here too, either the town or the county may terminate the agreement upon this time, 30 days written notice of either party. They want to propose the language changes in Section 7. The agreement shall be effective for 1 year from the date set forth above and shall automatically renew, so for 1-year terms upon the anniversary of the effective date. So they want to have it automatically renew, not just have it renew every year. So there's a document entitled Amendment to the O&M Agreement for Operation and Maintenance of Stormwater Retrofit Practices to the Town of Carmel, which formalizes that the Putnam County will perform the O&M for the retrofits, and that the town is required to pay the East of Hudson for maintenance under bubble compliance. So that needs for the board to consider and to have signed.
Thanks, Rich. Joe, you don't see any problem with this, right, from legal?
No, I discussed them with Greg beforehand, and he did not raise any issues.
Okay, perfect.
Any other questions, comments, engineer? All right, so next one, number 5, consider request to authorize out-of-district sewer connection, tax map number 74.19-1-6. Rich?
So the engineering department had issued a notice to remedy for the owner of the reference property, 69 Greenway Terrace in Carmel Sewer District 6. The board should note that in November of 2014, the property owner provided an application to connect to the sanitary sewer. At that time, the owner stated that they had connected their single-family home into an approved out-of-district line that was being installed. The town of Carmel does not own that out-of-district line that was installed. This connection violates our code, as each property must be connected to a sewer using a dedicated main. The connection itself, as identified via video, is defectively installed. As it appears, there is infiltration at the connection, and the reference property is not in the sewer district, Carmel Sewer District 6. In discussions with town council, the owner wants to complete/finalize the application. As such, the department requested the controller's office to provide a determination of back capital taxes for the property. Per the controller, the back capital charges, including 2019 capital debt, are $1,048.75, and due to operations and maintenance are $19,920.38. On June 25th, the engineering department forwarded a letter to the owner which advised the applicant of the back capital charges as provided. As this is an existing connection, it has been determined that the out-of-district connection is acceptable and there is sufficient capacity in Carmel Water District 6 to allow the out-of-district connection. If the town board approves the out-of-district connection, the applicant will be made aware that the next steps are: they must sign the out-of-user agreement, they must pay the application fee of $1,000 for an out-of-district user, they must pay the back capital charges, repair the connection, and obtain the approved permit from the engineering department. Once completed, the town will countersign the out-of-district agreement once those other options are completed, and we request that this be put on the board for you to consider.
Okay. So, in a nutshell, just to cover this, the property owner connected to Carmel Sewer District number 6 without authorization from the town, without first obtaining an out-of-district permission to connect. And so essentially it was an illegal tap into the sewer system.
And a notice of remedy was filed, and I've worked with Rich with respect to this. This will satisfy that notice of remedy. This will also, there'll be a contribution for all back capital and charges. There'll be an out-of-district agreement drafted by Greg Fulchetti, and this will allow that process to continue.
Oh, okay. Here. All right. And the property owner, just for clarification, I may have missed it, has agreed to this?
Yes. My understanding.
Via email, he has agreed to it. They want to move forward and get this out from under them, so to speak.
Okay. All right. So.
And actually, I have spoken to the owner, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay.
How long has it been hooked up?
I got out of my memo, so I apologize. They've been hooked up fairly long time. We sent the notice to remedy in 2014. That's when we realized it was there. That I'd have to go back to see when it was, that other line was installed, the approved out-of-district connection was installed.
Pre-2014, John.
But it was
Okay, so
pre-2014.
I'm with you on that, but I'm looking at the back capital and the back O&M, but how about the variable usage?
That's not how the back capital charges work.
I know what back capital charges
All right.
are, back capital I get, but there's usage. Every year,
That's the O&M charge. So it's based, we do have our assessor here, but it's based on the number of units that are there, and then what that charge is in the district. It's just, that's how the numbers are calculated. Right, Glenn?
Sewer ordinance, yes.
Yes, by our sewer ordinance, there's number of units assessed to a single-family or, multifamily home, and then it's assessed, it's an ad valorem in this particular district, if I'm not
hold on,
mistaken.
hold on. You have O&M,
Yep,
and you have capital if there was any debt.
Yep.
Back capital.
yes, sir.
If you get your bill, you get that on your tax bill. But then there's another one, just like if I'm in Water District 14, I get how many gallons I use.
Sewer doesn't have that.
Sewer has no usage.
Nope.
So how much water goes in determines how much sewer is used?
Sewer does not have that same fee associated with it. A water district does because it's metered.
Okay. That
Sorry.
is
Now I
knowledge
understand
to
your
me, so
question.
Now I got it.
Yeah. Now I understand your question. I apologize.
No.
So, yeah, sewer districts don't have that. So it's not based on how many flushes you do. It's just.
No, I always thought it was how much water went in
Well,
is how much water's going out. At least that's what they do in Westchester.
That's not how we do it here.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right. So before the board authorizes this, well, you'll have payment? You'll have the payment, have received the payment prior to the board authorizing?
So the board has to authorize that the out-of-district connection, the agreement be developed. We'll get them to sign it. They have to pay everything. You don't countersign until everything is done.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the board, so you're authorized to
Board is
sign it once
authorizing-
it's all done.
The board is authorizing the drafting of the out-of-district agreement, subject to the applicant paying the application fee, as well as the back capital charges, repairing the connection, and then inspection by the engineer, and then you'll have the opportunity to sign.
To sign off on it.
Yes.
Right, so we'll
That's
come back to
last
the
step.
board and go, here it all is.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a complete package by the time it comes back to you.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, any other questions or comments for the engineer on this particular item, agenda item? No. Okay. All right, Rich, go on to number 6. It is a consider request to authorize payment for repairs, Carmel Water District 8.
So as this memo is being presented to the board to request payment for the attached invoices, they are over the town's procurement policy threshold. As you mentioned, Carmel Water District 8, there was a leak repair at 24 McAlpin on August 8th. B&J, the operators of Carmel Water District 8, notified the engineering department of a water line leak in that area at 24 McAlpin. B&J Plumbing contacted Cook Excavating to perform the repair. Upon further investigation, it was determined that the service line was leaking in the middle of the road. Attached is an invoice in the amount of $5,674 for Cook to perform the repair, which included a new saddle, curb box, and molding a new line under McAlpin Avenue. We've advised the controller of this expenditure, and there are sufficient funds in the budget for this work as described.
Okay, any questions or comments for the engineer on number 6?
No.
No? Okay, there being none, we're going to move on to number 7, and Glenn, I actually could have handled this. But okay, all right, this is a request to attend the New York State Association's of Assessors. So Glenn Drosy is requesting permission to attend the State Association of Assessors Annual Fall Conference in Lake Placid, New York, starting on Sunday, September 22nd through Wednesday, September 25th, 2019. The conference provides classes that are New York State approved for required assessor continuing education. The estimated cost is $175 for tuition, $867 for hotel and meals for 3 nights. That's $289 per night. $259 for travel using his own vehicle. That's 259 miles, I guess it is, at $1,301 total. Or is it 259 total for the mileage, Glenn? Is that for mileage, 259?
Yeah, that's the state reimbursement.
Reimbursement, okay.
Based on mileage there and back.
Got it. Okay, so that's for a total of 1,301. So 761 estimated reimbursement to the town of Carmel from New York State. and it's $540 estimated final cost to the town of Carmel. So out of 1301, 761 is being reimbursed by the state to the town, so the total cost to the town of Carmel is $540. And Glenn, I believe it's gone every year, right? It's an annual conference? Okay. All right. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns
Nope,
on Glenn attending the conference?
nope.
No?
none.
Okay. None at all? Good. All right. So you'll be going to the conference? Okay. All right, so that completes the Town Board work session agenda items for this evening. Is there any members, any residents that are here tonight that would like to come up and comment on the agenda items only that we covered tonight? Come on up at this time. Okay, is there anybody here for the new business open forum portion of the meeting where you could come up and comment to the town board, make a statement to the town board, ask a question of the town board? Come on up at this time. Fred? Hey, Ben.
Great.
Good.
Good evening, Supervisor, Town Board, Fred Swanson, longtime Carmel resident. I have a question. What's going on with that? I should be asking you. Oh, okay. I've been wondering, I've been trying to watch stuff at home, and I'm not seeing no sound, sometimes no picture. I get Ann's Mac Mini on the screen, Channel 95, and then I get pictures of Trump.
It's Comcast, right?
Yeah, it's Comcast?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Comcast.
I have, that's what I have
It's very
also.
disturbing.
I know it is.
Because I know you paid a lot of money for this
We did.
service.
We
you
did.
know?
And-
And I don't think you're getting, I think somebody's dropping the ball.
Yeah.
And I was at a planning board meeting a couple weeks ago, came home, I'm sure everybody's aware of it. I wouldn't be, I'm not one that likes to come to these meetings, but you know what, if I don't get up and say something, I'll be just sitting at home watching, a blank screen too. But I'm getting tired of that, and I'm getting real irate about it. My wife and my kids, they don't care. But you know what, I gotta get a life. Somebody told me years ago, you gotta get a life and not watch all those meetings. But you know what, I don't say too much, but that makes me mad when I don't see what we're supposed to see. Because I sat there like about 4 weeks ago, watching a guy walk around tapping the microphone, because I wanted to see the meeting that night. And I figured, we're getting a new system and all. And then when it came on, it was a big disappointment, So I know there's got to be something that could be done, but I just wanted to voice my comment on that. And
Yeah,
it's something
we
funny.
share
Yeah.
your anger.
I'm sure there's other people too.
We share your anger.
We absolutely.
But I know the other guy that complained about the price of it, he's not here, but, he's probably watching somewhere, you know what I mean?
I know you mean.
In all fairness
Yeah.
to the guy in the booth, the first 2 weeks were not the fault of, it was the fault of Comcast and Fios.
I'm sure
So
there's,
finally, we got beyond them, and now we're working out the rest of the
right.
case.
And how are we working on getting a satellite, has anybody had any input with them about possibly getting a satellite office back here in the town, the vicinity, so we don't have to go to Danbury, or?
Yeah, we are in negotiations with that. That's part of our negotiations.
Right, because I
yes.
know now the contract
The
is.
contract is
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
We're waiting for their reply, but
Yeah.
it has been,
Yeah,
Joe,
they
can I say it?
Yeah,
Has-
actually, this week,
Yeah.
they just gave me a copy of a new red line version of the cable franchise agreement, which I'm going through now. One of the things that we did put in the, our draft was a relocation of a satellite office here in Carmel. I can tell you, though,
Right.
they are going to
I
fight
mean,
that tooth and nail.
Danbury's not a tremendous trek, but it was so convenient.
It
We
is
got
for a lot of
spoiled,
people.
when it
But-
was over by the bowling
Yeah,
alley.
but it is for a lot of people. If
Yeah.
If,
Senior
you're
citizens.
elder, for
Especially
senior
senior, right?
citizens, that are only comfortable driving within their town.
Exactly. I understand that, yep.
It's tough for them to get up
But,
to Danbury.
I like to sit down with a big bowl of ice cream at night and watch this
chocolate.
meeting.
Yeah.
And,
And you actually sleep after having that
Yeah.
big bowl ice cream?
well, yeah, but not when I used to watch the Brewster meetings. Then that was a
can't.
different story.
Yeah. Fred, we're going to be senior citizens soon.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping to retire
You
next
already
year.
are.
Oh, I'm not. AARP,
Yeah.
I think
you
you
start
got-
getting that
yeah.
at 49.
You qualify.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, Fred. Fred, good to see you. Yeah, we're going to follow up on that, all right? Okay. All right, anybody else for new business, open forum portion of the meeting? If not, I will just state that last week's meeting, there was some discussion with respect to the American Legion sewer lateral connection, and the board had authorized litigation to commence on that. We did meet with as promised, we did meet with the property owner in question that was not very supportive initially of allowing the lateral to be installed on his property, but I am pleased to report, without saying too much more, that the meeting that I had with him was very encouraging, and there was an agreement made when we left the table. There was an agreement made in principle that the easements, with respect to the easements that we needed to secure before we can go in and do any construction work on his property, the language to that was agreed to, and also the language to the maintenance easement, which we would need to secure that as well after the construction easement has been completed. There was an agreement made to the language in the maintenance easement as well. So everything was agreed to, and there was a date that was given by the highway superintendent as substantial completed by, and I'm not sure if I can share that date publicly right now, but I will tell you it's this year. So substantial completion. Is it in the Maypac News? The date? Where'd you get that from? You told me. Oh. So much for keeping things confidential.
Yeah.
All right, so it's November 1st. Bob told you. What's that? No, there's actually a substantial completion date for the overlay of the asphalt is September 1st of 2020. So the overlay has to be completed by September 1st of 2020. The substantial completion, which means there'll be a winter cover on it. Thank you, Mike. So the trench will be covered with asphalt, but it'll be just the width of the trench, and that'll seal it and it'll cover it up. But the completion of the overlay in the agreement will be September 1st of 2020. So it's encouraging. We're hopeful that this is going to happen. I don't have the draft of the easements yet. They haven't been sent to council, Greg Fulchetti. So we're waiting on the draft with all the language in it that was agreed to at the table.
So can I just ask something? So we're going to continue with what we discussed last week and move ahead. We're going to duel it, right? Just in case he just in case he pulls back from his agreement, we still are going to move ahead with the litigation in case he decides at the 11th hour not to do it again.
Correct.
Because what I don't want to happen is say, oh, we're going to stop the litigation or stop it from moving forward, and then all of a sudden, come, what you said, November 1st?
November 1st.
Come October 29th, we're not going to do it now. So just keep them both going. Let's pray and hope that they're going to do what they say. But I would like to still keep that on the table and still moving. Because I want to. And I think he'll do it. I really do. I'm hoping he will. But it's been 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I go from past practice. So.
But there's also there's a separate easement that has to be between the American Legion and that property owner for maintenance. So there's going to be a maintenance easement for the lateral with the property owner as well. So there'll be 3 easements: a construction easement, which is temporary, then the maintenance easement, which would be permanent with the town for highway facilities, and then a separate easement with the American Legion for maintenance to the lateral. So there'll be 3 separate agreements, 3 initially, then 2 final for the maintenance. Correct, Joe? Is that how that works? That's correct. Okay.
So then we can all have Thanksgiving dinner up at the American Legion.
Yeah, let's hope. So I'll keep everybody posted on that as well. So just wanted to, because it was discussed last week, but it seems that the property owner is cooperating, and we walked away with an agreement we hope is going to hold. We'll see. All right. Anybody else have anything?
No,
I just
the
have one
only thing that
announcement.
I do want to recommend, the Recreation Department is holding their monthly meeting next Thursday at 7:30, right, John? 7:30 at Sycamore Park. So if you're interested in any of the things that are happening in recreation around town, be it, the airport park, be it Swan Cove, be it the input of the farmer's market we had, or anything that you want to see, I suggest people get involved and go to the meetings. They're the first Thursday of every month at Sycamore Park.
I did, I know.
What's that?
I did miss him.
What did you miss?
Was the pickle guy here Sunday?
I don't know. I think so.
Mr. Pickle Guy. Oh, one other thing, and I'm surprised Councilman
Poor
Borelli
Joe.
didn't mention this. This past Monday, we officially closed on the bank parcels. So the town of Carmel now owns 4 parcels that previously owned by Mahopac Bank, which is downtown Mahopac. If you've driven by there, you notice that some things have been going on there, which is great. And so we're moving forward. So we now own the 4 parcels from the bank and the Swan Cove parcel, and that will be completely developed at some point in the very near future. So we're moving forward. That's really good news that we finally had gotten to the point where we were able to reach an agreement on the bank properties, and we finally closed this past Monday. Anything you want to add to that, Mike? We're working, yes. We're working. Yes. Yeah. Okay, go tell him. I have another announcement. The Mahopac Falls Volunteer Fire Department is having an open house on Sunday, September 8th, 2019, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Mahopac Falls Fire Department at 17 LaCaro Lane in Mahopac Falls. Free food and refreshments, fun for the whole family. Kids love going to these, by the way, because they get to climb through the fire trucks. They have a great time. There's going to be, the dive team is going to be doing demos there, fire truck tours, learn about fire safety. They have a fire safety house. Spray the fire hose. Kids love that too. Try on firefighter gear. Say hello to Sparky, the fire dog. Putnam County Sheriff's Safe Child Fingerprinting Program will be there. And animal ambulance with an animal CPR demo. It's going to be there too, so that's pretty cool. All right, so that's all I have. And the message boards were out today along 6N to help the fire department get people to come to their open house. So that's a good thing. Anybody else have anything else? Good night? Okay, that's it. I need a motion to close the meeting.
Second, we're so moved.
So moved. Second by Council. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, good night, everyone. Be well. We'll see you next Wednesday for a town board voting meeting. What? Oh, yeah. Not that anything can fly, not that going out. Oh.